rising, everybody. How y'all doing? We up in the building with the Bake House Art Complex with a lovely artist, a talented individual by the name of Vanta Black. Introduce yourself, sister. Just tell us who you are.
So my name is Vanta Black. I am an artist, a mother, an activist, and an advocate, and I use my work to address social issues in the community.
Now, what are some of your creative influences based on where you're from? Does where you're from have an effect on your creativity when it comes to doing art?
Absolutely. Where I'm from is really important to my practice. I'm originally from St. Louis.
Okay.
I moved to Miami when I was 9. And so my roots are in the Lou.
Right.
And St. Louis.
That's Chingy, right?
Amongst other things. Yes, we brought you Chingy and them. So,
right. And y'all say there.
Yes, we say there, over there,
like
her. So it was a whole big thing getting rid of my accent when I moved here.
Right.
Because it's very different.
Right.
And you don't hear it unless you're outside of the environment.
Right.
So, you know, St. Louis being the birthplace of the BLM movement, I have a duty to address all of the issues associated with that movement in my work because it's rooted in me. And so I associate that with my presence in Miami. You know, I've grown roots here. You know, my children are from here.
Right.
So that duality informs my practice.
That's what it is. So, Vanta, tell us who and what are some of your greatest artistic influences? Do you have anybody that inspires you, or is it something in particular that inspires you with your work?
Yes and yes. There are artists that influence the work that I do.
Right.
You know, some of my best friends are visual artists, and we kind of grew up in the art world together.
Right.
So they influence my practice. There are professional artists outside of my social group that influence me, like Ebony Patterson, Frida Lay Baez, William Cordova, Lonnie Johnson, T. Elliott Mansa. All of these different people add to my practice because they also focus on social issues and they address them in a way that I can pull from.
Right.
You know?
Do you have a particular medium that is your favorite to use in your art?
You know, the medium is really based on the message that I'm trying to convey.
Okay.
I really like to use pencil and charcoal because there's an intimacy there and a delicacy that you can create when you use those materials. I like to use black because working on, Vanta black, I like black. So, you know, I started using black surfaces when I was in college.
Right.
You know, Florida A&M University.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
shout out right there.
So, you know, using a darker surface, it challenges you to go against norms.
Right.
You know, this work challenges norms, and so do the materials. So I try to be very intentional with the materials that I use.
Now you mentioned the BLM movement, Black Lives Matter. The induction that you have here at Baker's House Complex seems to be geared toward that. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rooted in that movement. So I started this body of work here back in 2016. We're actually standing in front of the first portrait I did in this series. It was a portrait of a baby named King Carter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's King.
We interviewed his father.
Yes, Blaze. And
he changed his name to Big Bleak now.
Big Bleak.
Yeah.
And him and Monica are lovely people. They've been here.
Yes.
You know, they've seen the work. They've seen this work. And so when this baby lost his life, you know, there was a lot of media coverage.
Yes, it
and
was.
every time I saw this baby, I saw my baby. Because my son was 6 at the time also. So I was thinking that could be my child.
It could be anybody's child.
Absolutely anybody's child.
Right.
And, you know, as an artist, I feel like I have to do something with this work. I have to respond to what's happening around me. So I went to my work. I was like, I can talk about what's happening through my work. So in doing the research, just learning about King and what happened to him, I came across other names of individuals that didn't receive the same type of coverage. Yeah. So I felt like I had to tell those stories too. So it started with one portrait and then became 5. And then people started to reach out to me because I posted the work on social media and, with information about what happened to them. So families started to reach out to me and they wanted me to tell the stories of their loved ones. So I had to do that. And I also had to incorporate my own experience with gun violence into this work because I can't just tell other people's stories without telling my own.
Right.
So I lost 2 cousins back in St. Louis, so I had to tell those stories. Right. And my first experience with gun violence was when I was 16, so I had to tell that story also. Right. So, because the intention is to get people to understand that this can affect anyone, it affects anyone, and I want you to come from this work feeling like there's something I can do about either this issue or another issue that I'm passionate about. So we can talk about their lives. We can talk about the fact that they're gone. We can talk about what's happening in the community. We can talk about grief, and then we can talk about what do we do as in response to all of these things happening.
Your use of pencil and the backdrop being black, I see definitely the shadows telling that emotional story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to point out too that I'm looking at actually I know more. I know his mother. I do know.
Chanel.
Yeah, that was that's in Overtown. Yeah, probably a picture of Martin Easton up there.
Yeah, his portrait is up here.
I didn't see him yet, but we're gonna scan this, and I know this guy. This is actually my nephew here. My not biological, but through a niece that I have. That's my nephew. So it's incredible how. You see these people, and I know you get different reactions from people when they come in, as they come in, they see this. But one thing I noticed is like the eyes, they follow you.
Right.
Because I was over here, and it was never there, and then I moved over here, and it's like
going in.
That gives me chills. Because that's what my daughter says. Because, I work from home, and my kids watch me work. Right. And so their response is, Mommy, they're looking at me, they're following me. Right. And then so we have a conversation about that,
How has your artistic journey impacted or affect your children?
It's affected them heavily because, my kids are young, so they're all in my business. I don't get any free time. So, I have to pick pockets of, space where I can create. So they're there. They're asking me, what are you doing, Mommy? And who is that? Right. I remember I was working on this one portrait of this baby. His name is Amir Castro. And my daughter had to be maybe 3. And she was like, who's that, Mommy? And then I told her, and she was like, can I play with him? So then we had to have that conversation at 3. Why you can't play with this baby? Oh, wow. And then Amir's mother, she was doing a celebration of his life. Right. And she invited me and she told me to bring my kids. So we had to have another conversation about why he wasn't there at the birthday party. So, if they old enough to ask me, then I have to answer. I'm delicate about it, but I have to.
You gotta give it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to allude to, like, can I play with him like in the movies? Like, she was going to
she didn't know he wasn't a part of this world anymore.
I love the fact that you elected to tell her the truth about what took place, because that is the reality.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately now, much like back in times before we were even born, it happens now. Right. We need to tell our children the truth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's right, sister. That's why, I consider myself a truth teller. Because, like you said, Dre, there are different responses to this work. People will ask me, why are you focusing on something that's so sad? Why don't you make happy work?
Because they have to live, and they live through you.
They live through me, and I have to tell the truth.
And you have to
this is the truth. This is what's happening. Should I ignore it?
No, you should not.
Please don't.
No. And just what this work is doing for families.
Yeah.
Right.
I had no idea what it would do for families, and then us having a dialogue. So that informs the work also, because if I'm standing here talking to a group that knows nothing about what's happening around them, I could say, I spoke to his mom. Let me tell you what his mother said to me.
Yeah.
So that is my responsibility as an artist, to deliver this dialogue to people and get people to understand it's not just you're viewing this work. These are real people, and people love them, and they're still experiencing this loss every day.
Right. And that's the whole, even us accountable for what we do to ourselves.
Yes.
That's what I think is outstanding about your work. Hold us accountable, because a lot of these faces up here were not victims of police brutality. They were victims of street violence.
Absolutely.
Black on black.
Black on black violence.
And we have to talk about that
We got to
too.
talk about that.
Yeah.
We can't, because black lives got to matter to everybody, including ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right?
And we have to understand why is crime higher in impoverished neighborhoods? Why is the violence higher there? Tell me why. The violence in Coral Gables or Bow Harbor is not the same as in impoverished cities. And why is that?
That's true.
And I have those conversations also with younger groups.
That's true. When we are seeking to change the narrative, we don't do that. When we focus on police brutality only, but we're still killing each other.
But we're still killing each other.
How can we say, y'all got to change something? No, we got to change it.
We got to change it. It's all about Black excellence, moving forward. So we're here at Bakehouse Art Complex. I think you said Baker.
Baker.
So
Well, there used to be a bakery. Back in the day.
So we're here checking out Sister Vanta Black. People want to find you. They want to come in contact with you. They want to see your work. Tell them where they can find you and where they can see that.
I'm reasonably accessible. I have a presence on social media. On Instagram, I'm Vanta Black 305. I have a studio here at the Bakehouse, and all of my contact information is on my social media platforms.
Keep it simple. See how she keeps it simple? She keeps it simple, people. She keeps it simple so that it's done simply. That's it. That's it. Streamline is what they call it. Any closing words or departing words before we leave out? What is something that you would like to convey? And tell the audience. Look at them and tell them right there. Tell them.
I would like to say that if you've experienced this type of loss, I want you to understand that it is a process. Give yourself time, especially the sisters out there. We are treated differently, and just be gentle with yourself. If you know young people who have experienced this type of loss, be gentle with them. We are a village, and we have to act like a village.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. How long is your induction going to be here?
So this work will be up until the end of December. And the mural is forever.
You have until the end of December to get yourself here to witness this beauty, this wall.
So we're going to take our cameras around and look at some of your stuff and catch it so y'all can see some of Vanta's Black work. You watching the Wake Up Miami Morning Show, man. My name is Andre Soul.
And I'm Lanice Rochelle. We appreciate you.
We love you. We on the scene, and we'll see y'all next time.
All right.
As I was working, I would call upon their name aloud, and then I feel like that energy is still here. So loved ones would come by and tell me, I never go this way, but I came this way today. And then, we would have a conversation, and then sometimes they would help. People would bring offerings. I've done some activations here. Last year, when we were done, I did a reading of the names. We're gonna do the same thing on the 4th. I'm gonna read the names, and there's gonna be a performer out here performing, and people can just come and honor their loved ones. So we spent a month painting. I used 32 gallons of paint, painting black. Wow. It took me a month to recover from
working on this. I was out here every day for 6 months. Yeah.
And I want to do a series of black artists in Miami.
You absolutely should.
A series of black artists in Miami.
Remarkable.